Hello, everyone, and welcome to Apples Grow in the South. So, I've been playing with this idea of this podcast for well over 2 years now. When I originally moved to the great state of Georgia back in 2021, so much came at us so fast that I thought that we needed to document our journey. However, there was just never any perfect time to do this. So here we are. One, move or bust. So a lot of you guys may be asking yourselves, why move? So let me paint the picture. COVID happened, and for the longest while, myself and my husband, we never wanted to leave New York. We just knew that that was our home. That is where we grew up, and no one ever wanted to move beyond that. We grew up in Queens. We wanted to live in Long Island. That was a dream. Valley Stream. That was it. But then something remarkable happened one year. I got tired of being in the same place. And this was back in like 2016, somewhere around there. And I prayed. I remember praying and I was like, hey, God, I'm tired. I'm tired and I wanted to change. And on that year for my New Year's resolution, I wrote in a journal that I started at the time, not understanding why I was writing, that I wanted to travel more. And God has a way of working out things that you manifest. This was my first lesson in manifestation, that we traveled that year. We traveled so much that year. So one of the things that changed was that my husband got a job with Delta Airlines. And with that job came the opportunity to travel more. The first place we went to was to Miami for my birthday. That's another podcast. I will definitely give you guys the story behind that. And we traveled to a couple more places. Just randomly, we went to Puerto Rico for the day just to have lunch. Woo! That was different. And a couple other things. And one of our last travel for that year was we randomly, spontaneously just got up and was like, okay, we are going to get up and go to San Francisco. It was so random, so much so that we didn't plan nothing. The kids were, we didn't realize that it was Veterans Day weekend. And at the time, I was still fairly new in real estate, so we decided that, you know what? I ain't got to clock in and check for nobody, so guess what? We're going to go. So, it was so exciting, so different that my son was actually sick maybe 24 hours the night before, and he was like, hey, I don't care what we're doing, I'm getting on that plane. So we packed up, packed one bag, one carry-on, got on the plane, went to San Francisco, and we were there for a couple of days, and we had a ball. Oh my God, it was so crazy. We had such a great time, and we wandered into this area, a little bit east, I would say. Is that east or is that west? Whatever. Close to Ghirardelli Square. At the end of the trolley ride, and we walked up. It's called Fort Mason. And I remember we walked up there and we were overlooking the San Francisco Bay. We were looking at the Golden Gate Bridge. We're looking down at Alcatraz Island, and I remember standing there, not remembering that I did a resolution, but just remembering that that was a dream that I had as a kid, that we wanted to visit San Francisco. It was on my list. Nonetheless, because we had so much fun in November at this random ass trip that we took, I got back home at the end of the year and we were celebrating so much, celebrating this newfound travel freedom and this newfound financial freedom, because I was just starting to get on that kick, of getting into the real estate flow. This was year 2, right? Um, and then we sat down and I opened my book. So it wasn't a journal. Now that I'm really thinking about it, it wasn't a journal. It was an agenda book. So I opened up my agenda book, and at the end of that agenda book, there's a space for notes, and I am reading over the notes, and it says, list of places that I want to visit this year. And oh shit, Puerto Rico was on that list. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, San Francisco's on that list. And then I had another aha moment. I just started bawling. And I'm like, oh my God, manifestation. That was the first one. Okay. And then I was like, babe, I don't know if New York is the place I want to be anymore. But again, it was just a random ass thought. It wasn't any planning to it or anything like that. And, he was just like, no, this is it. And I was like, the more I travel, the more I don't know if I want to be in New York. I like all these places that we've gone to, and I would definitely live in San Francisco. Like, oh my God, I love the vibe. I love the food. I have never had food that tasted like this before. It was fresh. It was nice. Not since I left Jamaica. I'm like, oh my God, we could do this. Right? I was like, we could do this. But mind y'all guys, that's another story. We're gonna get into that. You go too far in one direction in San Francisco, you in a hood, right? But I lived for that moment going up on the hill and looking down. I'm like, oh, I saw this in the movie. This is Nob Hill. Like, oh my God, I can do this. All right. But then I popped open my map and I was looking at the geographical area, and I was like, oh shit, we can't do this. It's fucking expensive as shit. And they're like, oh, but again, it was just a thought. And fast forward, we start having more resolutions and more ideas of travel. Follow up to that 2016 end of year November travel was our new tradition that we decided to implement that year, that every year on the 1st of January we would be traveling with our family. So the follow up for that trip was being in the Bahamas on January 1st. Got up, packed our bags, got on the first flight out. We are now in the Bahamas with the kids, staying at the Atlantis Resort. Again, not pre-planned. And again, the freedom that not having to call into a boss gave me, and the financial freedom that real estate gave me. I'm like, oh, no worries. Credit card, boop, we're good. That freedom just opened up a whole nother way of thinking. The more we traveled, the more culture we saw, the more we wanted. I didn't want to move. I don't want to say we wanted to move. I wanted to move because my husband definitely did not want to. So yeah, but one of my favorite places to visit rapidly started to become the great state of Florida. Now, at the beginning of the session, I said, why move? Hear me out. First place I ever visited once we started traveling was Florida. We went to Miami for my birthday. Oh my God. We had such an awesome time. Knew nothing about Miami. We stayed mid-beach. I forgot the name of the resort, but I do remember it was past the Fontainebleau going up on Collins. It was like a clearing. I remember there being like a little pizza shop there, and it was right before we got into like the Ball Upper area. And we had so much fun, and I if I'm not mistaken, I think we saw uh Floyd Mayweather that day. We went to the pizza shop and my husband's like, "Hey, Floyd is in the back," and I had no idea who the hell Floyd Mayweather was. I was like, "I don't care about who the hell Floyd is. We having our pizza. Let's go." Um, and that in itself was an experience because that taught me to let my hair down because I am wound up tight. I tell you, whew, um, very very tightly wound. Right, everything is for me. Once I got into the real estate business, anyway, it's like, oh my god, real estate. Oh my god, a real estate office. Oh my god, what they doing here? And at that time, I'm gonna tell you now, Miami Beach, Mid Beach is not what it is now. Um, when I remember traveling, I was like, this is Miami Beach. Like, what the hell? But I saw the potential. I was like, oh, this is what's going to happen here. This is what's going to happen here. Long before Berkeley even came into to play. Again, this is 2016. I'm like, already ideas. Even that Austin Martin building, like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. I wanted to be a part of that. That's why move? Then we got down to um down to Miami Beach, Collins Avenue, where it is now famous, right? There was a little scooter shop across the street from the Lowe's Hotel. I don't know if it's still there. There's a little trinket shop, and then right next to that, or a couple storefronts next to that, is this little scooter shop. And I remember we rented the moped and we rode around, and oh, I got pissy drunk. Um, so much drunk so that we was already dressed to get on the plane, and then I remember being so hot that I ended up having to take off my clothes on the beach to wet my hair just so I could sober up before we get to the Miami airport. And I was like, yeah, we could do this. I remember having to get back on that plane and go to New York. I was like, no, I don't want to go home. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to move. And then after that, my mentor, a couple years before that, way before I got my license, I had assisted her in not knowing anything about real estate. That was my first introduction to real estate. Again, another story, another day. And I helped her, with the purchase of a property there in Fort Lauderdale. But getting to be there in Fort Lauderdale, driving around, I was like, oh, this is Fort Lauderdale. Okay, I see why she liked it. And then, moving around, then I got to Bal Harbour. And yes, I'm a bougie bitch. Sorry. And I'm like, oh, the St. Regis? Ooh, the Ritz-Carlton's right next door. Like, what is this? This is new. This is new for us. And I remember us with this rental car, we were driving up the beach, up the A1A. We didn't go all the way up, but just driving up. And I'm like, babe, I think I want to move. And he's like, why move? Again, still cannot get him to commit to moving. We had a rough go at it the next couple years. We still traveled a lot, but our personal relationship was starting to suffer because in some way or form, I feel, I don't know, we started to resent each other a little bit because the more money I made, the more I just felt like I needed a little bit more commitment from him. And I felt like he wasn't fully on board, but he expected so much, right? And maybe one day when I bring him on, he'll give his version of that. When I said he expected so much, like, okay, she was just making money, I should be treated like a king. I'm like, but nigga, what the fuck you did to be treated? Again, that's another story. And, it's a big push and pull in our relationship. And the rough go with it over between, I would say, 2017 2019, really freaking rough go at it relationship wise. And I made a conscious decision that 2019 rather, I was going to save the majority of my deals, the money that I make from those deals, with the mindset that come end of 2020, I will be moving to Florida. But they say that when you plan, God is also planning. So I put my head down at the end of 2019, and I had maybe 6 or 7 deals already lined up for the beginning of the year and going into 2020 before we even went into the shutdown. One of our family friends was getting married that March. So my goal was to close as many deals as possible before that wedding, because I was just like, I want to go have fun at that wedding. I don't want to worry about anybody calling me or anything like that. And I was going to pull out of control and have a fucking blast. And I think I closed deal number 6 right before the wedding. Okay, so I'm saving, sitting on a good amount of money, right? Saving. And when I say a good amount of money, I don't mean a crazy dollar amount. I just mean good enough because, again, the plan is that we are moving, me and my kids, whether or not my husband wanted to, come into 2020. I'm gone. I'm over this shit. I'm tired of New York. I just needed to change. Cool. That's what happened, right? So COVID happened. COVID was like, nah, y'all gonna sit down, y'all gonna figure this shit out. So now we are locked in the house and we have to talk to each other. We have to have a conversation. We got to do what we haven't been doing for a while and actually try to communicate. And I didn't do so well being in COVID. Oh my God, I was going into a panic attack. Oh my God, the zombies are coming. We're gonna die. And he truly stepped up then. He was like, all right, you know what? You ain't got to go outside because you're having anxiety attacks. Like, I mean, when I say anxiety attack, I mean anxiety attack. And every time you turn on the news, you're like, what the hell is happening? And he's like, all right, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to stand on the lines. I'm going to go to Walmart. I'm going to do the food shopping. Because before that was me. That was doing the food shopping, right? So I would drop the kids off in the morning on a Monday morning to school, and then go to Walmart in Valley Stream over there by Green Acres on the way home, and then that was the routine. But COVID shocked the hell out of us, and now I'm locked in the house having anxiety and panic attacks. And as time progressed, he was like, all right, babe, let's go. We gotta work out. And we worked out in the house. He was on his little NutriBurst kick then, doing TLC, and he's like, all right, let's go. I'm going to drag you out the house. We're going to go walk around the park. And that's what helped me cope. And those walks around the park and working out together started turning into tough conversations. And ultimately, I'm going to tell y'all, by the end 2020 happened, he was like, all right, I'm ready to listen to you. Wherever you go, I'm going to go. And if you want to move, we'll move. And I was like, yes, we're going to Florida. We're going to Florida. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to Apples Grow in the South. I see y'all next time. Drop me a like. Let me know what you think. And y'all, feel free to drop me some questions when you guys listen. And I'll be happy to do a Q&A. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Deuces.